Well, it's a 1 for the money, 2 for the go, 3 for the Keith William Wallace show. But don't you step on his golfing shoes. Well, you can do what you want, but lay off of his golfing shoes. Well, you can bait up his hook, cast out his line, but he'll reel a trout in, he'll feel fine. Honey, you can do whatever you do, but don't you stand on his golf shoes, and don't you stand on his golfing shoes. You can do what you want, but lay off of his golfing shoes. Let's go. A golfing shoes. A golfing shoes. A golfing shoes. A golfing shoes. Do what you want, but lay off of his golfing shoes.
Well, I got my way eventually. You know how many arguments we've had at night in the past 35 years over what program we're going to watch. And as for that stupid program, This Is Your Life, well, the last laugh is now on you, my darling, because this is your life. I love you so much and thank you for the past wonderful 35 years. Have a fantastic night, and I hope the next 35 will be just as wonderful.
True blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when she's in a fight? Or just Vegemite? True blue, I'm asking you. True blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight? Or just Vegemite? True blue, true blue.
Good evening. Welcome, Keith, to This Is Your Life, Keith Waller. I notice the normal renter crowd is here again tonight that was at your 50th birthday only 10 years ago. Some of them look a little weathered, all except for, of course, you, Maxine. Now, this is your life so far, Keith. Let's see how it all began. Keith, you were born in Simla, India on the 13th of June 1942 as Keith William Waller to Ernest and Iris Waller, who were school teachers at the local English public school. As your mother reports, Keith, you were somewhat of a handful as a little fella, and as I understand, an older fella as well. As a little fella, one of your favourite games, which terribly upset your nanny, was to run around the garden with no clothes on while she ran after you calling, "Keithy, Keithy, come and put your pants on." The rumour has it, Keith, that things haven't changed much in your later life. At the age of 6, your family moved to Nainital, a gorgeous station in the foothills of the Himalayas. Maxine and yourself revisited Nainital some years ago and met up with the same nanny that used to chase you around the garden. What a wonderful moment for both of you. When you were 12, your family moved to Australia and went to live in Guildford, where you attended Guildford Grammar School. Many of your friends made in those days are with you here tonight. You left school at 18 after gaining a Commonwealth scholarship and immediately began a cadetship at BHP studying mechanical engineering at the West Australian Institute of Technology. You were chosen from 200 people to do a course run by the Treasury. Clearly an outstanding scholar. At this stage of your life, you're now a mature, red-blooded student with all the testosterone of a stampeding Indian elephant. As the owner of a sporty Triumph Spitfire, you like nothing more than darting around the village in the early hours of the morning, avoiding the milkman, picking up all manner of people. With the looks of an Imran Khan, women flocked to you, and you clearly dated some very fine women, until Max put her foot down to all of this ramping and pillaging and stole your heart. The two of you made the perfect couple, a relationship which has stood the test of time. Then on the 7th of March 1967, after a rigorous cross-examination of your personal assets by your future father-in-law, the two of you were married. The night went splendidly once your groomsmen eventually left the two of you together. Now, happily married, you went to work for the Treasury in the nation's capital, Canberra. Here you enjoyed romantic times with Max on and off the snow. Skiing was not your forte, Keith, and isn't now. A year later, you took Max and yourself to Hong Kong to work for the British company Cable and Wireless. It was here you enjoyed being back in the Asian way of life and made many good, lasting friendships. Although the highlight of your sojourn had to be driving your Princess Maxine around in a brand new Triumph TR3. After conception of your first child, later to be named Jason, it was time to leave the big life behind and snuggle down in the warmth of the windy city, Perth. 3 more children, Penelope, Courtney and Georgina, 5 grandchildren and 35 years of marriage to Maxine. As they say, the rest is history. Speaking of your family, Keith, like all Wallers, they're anxious to have their 10 cents worth. Let's hear what they have to say right now.
Hi, my lovely son. Congratulations on your 60th birthday. Mum's had very lovely memories of you, and Courtney's asked me just to say a few words, if I could remember at this time of my life, but I do. I remember I was 26 years old then, and it was the 13th of June. And I said, here he comes, this beautiful son of mine. I thought you were a son because you gave me lots of trouble. You were born, I was taken to the military hospital in Kasauli. Now, Kasauli was the military station, and I had to go to that hospital sitting in a rickety old dandy. That was my first experience of a dandy. Anyway, I arrived at the hospital, and it didn't take long for you to be born. You were 9 pounds 9 ounces. My word. Even the doctor said, where did you keep him all this time? You were a lovely boy. Lovely. And the nurses loved you. They just take you off to the club every evening. And I think that's what happened, because they used to give you a little sip of the beer. And as Dad said, you never stopped drinking beer after that. Do you remember? Maybe you do. From Sanaa, we went on to Sherwood, another school, and there you had to go in as a boarder, because the headmaster said you were old enough to go in. So you went. And every now and then you used to come running back home, and of course Dad used to get into trouble, and you used to get a couple of whacks from Dad too. And I was in charge of the primary school then, and I had to have a lot of plays. And there were no girls because it was all a boys' school. So I dressed you up once as a fairy. I don't think, Keith, you'd like to hear that, but I think there's a photograph somewhere of you as a fairy. And he was so cross with me, he said, I am not talking to you anymore if you're going to dress me as a fairy. So I had to stop that, because he hated being a fairy. Richard didn't mind, but Keith hated it. Well, my darling son, happy birthday. Mum's memory now fails a little bit, but it'll come back to me. God bless you, my darling, and let's see many, many more. Goodbye, my lovey.
First of all, Keith, I'd like to congratulate you and wish you a very happy 60th birthday, and having attained that age while still managing to look several years younger, but I think the grey hairs are starting to catch up with you now. Now, I just thought I'd mention one of your passions in sport, and that's being tennis. Now, we've had some really great contests on Boxing Day over the years, and I just have to say that Keith on a tennis court can be a little bit different and a bit disconcerting for his partner, as he tends to think he's back on the hockey field, and he tends to want to take over every part of the court and quite a lot of shots, which probably are a little bit tricky for him. However, Keith, we have had some great battles, Ken, Max and myself, and mainly we have been the winners at home and you have been the winners on your grass at Karrinyup. But having said that, I would just like to wish you a very, very happy birthday, and I would like to say you are my favourite brother-in-law, and I wish you all the best in the years to come. Over to you.
Over to me. Well, I just want to make a slight correction to what Michelle was saying then, that Keith, I just believe you're a competitive person, and you weren't running willy-nilly around the court at all. You had a set goal in mind every time you made a dash to the forehand or backhand. One thing that I've always considered, Keith, is that you're a family man, and you and Max have brought up 4 wonderful children, and you get on so well with your grandchildren. But I do recall when Natasha was young that she couldn't stand the sight of you, to be perfectly honest, and this was always a concern to us and also to you. I can remember quite often that you would look quite askance at why Natasha wouldn't go near you. Scream, yes, scream, that's right. But I just want to say that I also want to wish you the best for your 60th birthday, and at your time of life where you've been working for the best part of 40 years, retirement's not that far away, and I just want to, as my wish to you and to Max, is to hope that you have a long and happy and successful retirement when you decide to take it.
Keith, it's Sunday morning, too early to toast you, but just a reminder to tell you that there is life on the other side of 60. So we've been there, we've seen it, so it's not going to be that bad. Go on, Catherine.
Hi, Keith. Sorry we can't be with you, but life goes on, as Michael says, and we've got other important things to do, looking after your grandchildren. Keith, a wonderful birthday to you. It's just 10 years since we met you, and the reason why we're in Canberra is the reason we met you, because Cara and Jason coming together was what it was all about, and we've had 10 super years with you and Max. Happy birthday, Keith.
Sorry we can't be there, but we're attending your duties.
And you should be here with us, not doing other frivolous things.
And life's not that bad without gallstones, I hear. Ciao. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Keith.
Dad, we're sorry we can't be with you for your birthday, but here's a little birthday message from Canberra.
Happy birthday, Granddad!
Happy birthday, Granddad!
Penny's 21st and seeing Keith dressed in his dinner suit, which is something that I've come to associate very closely with Keith, who is very fond of getting dressed up and looking dapper, which is a lovely quality of his. The other, of course, is his love of red wine, which he shares with myself and my good husband. And I guess his sense of fun, which is something that has always been something that's drawn me to him as a friend and as a father-in-law. I guess one of the things that I would prefer to forget, but unfortunately I don't think the Wallers would ever let me, is Keith's birthday on the Dorrington's farm. 50th birthday, and which was one of my first debuts into Waller High Society. I was very nervous and much younger than today, and unfortunately I drank a wee bit too much and was rather tired and emotional at the end of the evening. Thankfully, the Wallers still accepted me after this little episode, and of course, it was never repeated. Keith is now, of course, a very proud grandfather, and as the mother of his grandchildren, making all the noise in the background, I really have appreciated the love and support he's shown to our children and to me, and the way he's accepted me so beautifully into his family, and that's something which I'll always love you for, Keith. Happy birthday.
Hi Dad. By the time you see this, you'll be 60 years old and you'll also be a grandfather for the 5th time over. So I thought I'd like to go through some of the things that you also are to me. You're the guy when I was 2 years old who came into my room on Christmas morning and helped me haul my diggers and dozers out of my Christmas sack when they were stuck. You're also the bloke running around on the wet hockey field on the foreshore with us cold and miserable in the car, yelling, "On the wing, on the wing." But you gave us chips and lemon squash and Steve's pub afterwards as consolation. You're a very loud source of laughter at the cricket and hockey parties, enabling us to find you no matter how lost and tired we got. You're also the guy that carried us from the car back into our beds as we pretended to be still asleep. You're googie eggs in the morning. You're some old and well-worn Ugg boots and tracky pants at night. You're the guy that got me ready for school on my first day like I was getting ready for work and mimicked you. You taught me how to kick my footy and then trundled me around to all the footy matches afterwards and tried to get me to run straight without throwing my legs out wide. You were always running late. You gave me my sex education via a pack of nudie cards and nudie matches that you stored hidden away up in your bar at Exford Way. But I guess after 3 kids now, I guess it was good enough. You're the bloke that married my mum. You're a name up in the honour roll in Stirling House. You were the guy that could be overridden by EW squared when he wanted to give us too many chocolates or icy poles on an Easter or a Christmas. You were the guy that taught me to fish and caught my first blowfish and made me think that it was edible. You were a smiling face at all my graduations and on my wedding day, and you were the example I used when I tried to recreate these memories for my son. But now that you're 60, Dad, you're also very old. We're sorry we can't be there, but we love you very much.
Anyone in the past who's had trouble understanding Dad will probably relate to this story. When I was a little girl in grade 7 playing netball, Dad came to watch me one Saturday morning. And when we were having half-time break, he came over, being the true sportsman Dad is, to tell me some skills to fine-tune my netball game for the second half. When I regrouped with the girls, one of my school friends, Barbara, said to me, "Penny, I didn't know you spoke another language." I looked at Barbara and I said, "Well, I don't." And she said, "Well, what was that your dad was talking to you?" But on a more serious note, Dad, I just want to say how much I love and adore you and what a wonderful father you've been. And since becoming a parent myself to my 2 darling little boys, I really appreciate your fathering over the years, how you've always been there for me. Every time I've needed to ring up and complain or upset, you've been there and supported me through everything I've done. Happy 60th birthday, Daddy. I love you a lot. Moggy, show Uncle Connie his sign. Show Uncle Connie his sign in your mouth. That's it. Good mouth. All right, very good. And what's this? What is it?
It's my mark. There's a page up.
I haven't got that one. What about, what's that there?
My digger.
Show Uncle Connie.
This the digger. Skip the digger last night.
And who's this?
My acca.
Do you love your Akka? Say, I love Akka.
I love acca.
So who's in the photo?
My Morgan and acca.
And what's Akka doing?
He's doing Morgan right his house. It was horsey ride.
Honey, when you told me you loved me, you lied. And I had no cause to doubt you. But I'd rather go on living with your lies than go on living without you. Hi, I'm Elvis. Some of you may think this is a shoe on my head, but no, it's my hair. When I'm in town, after a long concert, I like to chew down on a Mr. Longbar. When they call you Mr., you must be this long. And I like to wash down the Mr. Longbar with a Budweiser beer, the king of beers, truly.
Alright, Elvis, we're actually really here for the Keith Wyler tribute video. You know, the tribute video for Keith Wyler's 60th birthday.
No.
Do you think you could really get into the video for us now? Thanks.
Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
guys. Let's keep rolling. In 3,
Thank you.
2.
Thank you very much. Well, a lot of people ask me, they say, what's your favorite memory of the Colonel Keith Wyler? And I say, well, I can't help but remembering the day I asked for his daughter Penelope's hand in marriage. I turned up on his front porch with a 6-pack of beer, and I said, Keith, can I have your daughter's hand? He mumbled something, I don't know what he said, but he drank the beer and I took that as yes. But another story I do recall was we went on the Deep South tour, Roy Orbison, the Colonel, and myself. A very controversial tour in the Deep South. Roy and I were talking about a lot of things. He was saying, Elvis, you're the king. I said, no, Roy, you're the king. And Keith was in the background mumbling something. I don't know what he was saying, but turned out he wanted to go fishing. And we took his fishing pole down, and we caught us a whole swag of fish. And he caught the biggest one, a yellow-tailed king of some 30 pounds. And I said, Roy, he truly is the king. Thank you very much.
What noise does Keith William Waller make in the mornings? Yes, that's right.
Hello, my beautiful. What brings you here?
Well, we're doing Keith's video tonight. We said we would.
That's right. It's our turn. It's our turn to say a few words to the old man.
Sure is.
Dad, love you heaps. Happy 60th birthday. Congratulations. All the bits everyone else is saying, we agree with. Now, it's our turn, though, to say a couple of little things. So I'm going to start. Is that all right?
Yep, you go for it.
Fantastic. I remember once on one of my birthday cards, Dad, you wrote it, and you said, Court, you're an interesting child. And we've had many conversation about interesting child, and I don't think anyone yet has disagreed with it. But that's not what I'm getting at. All I'd like to say is, you're a fascinating father. Because you're the only guy that I know that manages to drive all the way home without a passenger door. Now, I think that's pretty talented. What do you think, beautiful?
I think that's a very intelligent thing to do.
It is. It's very clever. Now, one more thing. I'd like to make a comparison with your golf swing. I think your golf swing is like the finest of fine, fine coffee. It smells just beautiful. And to watch it, it's just rhythm and motion. But when you drink the coffee, it's just like any other coffee. And it just tastes the same, just tastes like coffee. I'll let you think about that one for a bit. Anything you'd like to say, beautiful?
Well, Keith, I think I've probably known you the least out of everyone else who's done this video, so I don't really have an embarrassing or interesting story to tell about you. But I have to say that making this video, or helping Courtney make this video, I have learnt a lot about you. And so I'm very grateful for having the opportunity to do that, because I now know a huge amount more about you, and I have heard a lot of your interesting and embarrassing moments. Many times over.
One or two. All seriousness, Dad, love you lots. Couldn't trade you for anything else in the world. You are my hero, and for that I chose the final song. I hope one day to be as good as and as great as you are. So, but
you've got a long way to go.
I've got a long way to go.
You do.
Thanks for reminding me. How do I start? Where do I start? Anyway, let's not. We haven't got enough time left. So, all the best and
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hello, Keith. It's the other Keith here. Just saying happy birthday. I know Georgie misses you lots and lots and lots. I hope you have a great one. Have a champagne for me, or a beer, or wine, or whatever. Just have lots of it. Okay. Happy birthday. Bye.
Hi, Daddy. Just want to say happy birthday and hope everyone is having a lovely time and that you enjoy the night. And I just want to say that you're the best dad in the world and I love you lots. What? And that I can't wait to see you when I get home in a few weeks and have a game of golf. I've missed my games of golf with my dad. And that I hope you enjoyed the surprise and that everyone has a lovely time. And we're here at Castle Combe, where I had my 21st birthday dinner, and I think you probably nearly had a heart attack over the cheque, but thank you very much, and I loved it. And it's a beautiful summer's day. I think it's the hottest day we've had so far in England this year. It's 25 degrees and nice and sunny. And I think that's about all. And I hope everyone has a nice time and have a very, very nice birthday, and I love you lots, and I'll see you soon.
Well, thank you, Georgina, all the way from the UK. Now, Keith, let's talk to some of your old school and sporting friends, and let's hear what they have to say about you.
Hi Keith, happy 60th. We go back a long way, right back to those days when we were at Guildford together, and then of course with the Old Boys Hockey Club and through the golf club. I think it's fair to say that over those years we've developed a very strong friendship, and through hockey, for example, we played together for many years with the Old Guildfordians Club. And I think we developed a pretty good understanding with each other over those years. Who can forget that fantastic goal that you scored in the grand final for us to win the flag? How many ever years ago it was? Of course, you were set up with a dream pass from me, but nevertheless, it did take some skill to finish it off. And in the golfing arena, well, we've played together for years. I think the most memorable thing about your golf is your laugh. The Keith cackle, as it's known up at Karrinyup, which can be heard across many fairways. But we've played together in four-ball events, not with a great deal of success, I have to say, although, as you'll remember, we did win the final four-ball knockout many, many moons ago and won those two crystal mugs, which we use on Christmas Eve when we come round to your place every year. Speaking of hockey, reminds me of a couple of stories. I remember one time when we were up at Merredin, and you may remember I'd just had a brand new Jaguar. And after the game, of course, we went out for a few quiet ales, and as the night was wearing on, I decided to go to bed, but you wanted to have a bit of a nightcap. So you went off to some pub or other. The following morning, I can remember getting up and going out and seeing my Jaguar sitting there, in drive, handbrake off, and a glass of port sitting on the dashboard. And here it was, parked right outside our room on what looked like quite a slope, and for some reason or other it hadn't run into the room and destroyed us all. And of course, talking about cars, who can forget the Triumph Spitfire that you had when you were a young whippersnapper? And that story about when one night coming home from Charles Harper's place, you spun the Spitfire out in Stirling Highway and wiped out the whole of the MLC school fence. Mind you, they've never replaced it ever since. But as a result of that, I think you were charged with dangerous driving. But you had the foresight to brief none other than David Kingsley Malcolm, later to be Chief Justice of Western Australia, and he was successful in getting you off. Somehow or other you managed to persuade the magistrate that it was possible to spin a Triumph Spitfire at 35 miles per hour if a cat ran out in the road in front of you. A pretty plausible story, but somehow or other you were able to persuade the magistrate that that was a good defence.
Yeah, well done, Keith. At least you've got there, more than I have. As yet, I remember when we were at school, we used to have the number system, and you were the resident sex expert. You remember that? Yes, you do. We used to come to you for advice, and we used to get, the numbers were 1 to 10, and basically 1 was holding hands, 2 was arm around, etc. And 10 was the whole way. So, but you seem to get 10 every time. All the best anyway, Keith, for the future.
Hi, Tap Tap. When Courtney rang me several weeks ago, he said he was doing something secret, and I said, don't go any further, Courtney. It's your dad's 60th, and you want some dirt on him. And I thought to myself, the imp of mischief will stir in my brain, and I will be able to pour out all sorts of dirt on you. But how long have I known you? 1954, 48 years. 48 years of dirt, quite a lot. But then, you're such a lovely boy, I'm not sure that there is in fact very much dirt. There are a couple of stories though that I have to relate. When you gave up A-grade hockey and dropped down to play with the old Guilfordians and enjoy a whole lot of real conviviality, there you were, sitting on the top of the D, and this is where the origin of the word tap tap came from, desiring to execute the perfect 1-2, and who should be on the left inside but Horace. And you never did get that ball passed back to you, did you? And I could see the frustration and exasperation, and I have nightmares about it ever since. The only other story I've got is that we made one big mistake once. We thought somebody had the bright idea of putting the 3 Wallers in the forward line together, thinking, my God, we've got the most powerful attack in the whole of the hockey world. And it was an absolute disaster. Unbeknown to us, they were both all goal hungry and none of them would pass to each other. And the result of which was that we had to disband that idea and put you up the top of the D, Richard at half back and Charles in the full back before we got any cooperation. What can I say? You're 60th, I'm a year and a half behind you, and what would be nice is to say to you, cheers Keith, have a happy birthday.
Hi Keith, what a wonderful thing to be able to wish you a happy 60th birthday. As a present, I would just like to give you my card, my business card, because you really do need to improve on red wine. And just a few little things that you used to do to me when I was younger. Thank you very much, Keith, but I've never forgotten how when you'd come home from school with John, you'd come round the back and I'd be sunbaking with my top undone and you'd get the hose and you'd squirt me. I do also remember chasing you around the tennis court with a knife once, but anyway, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday. And it's just wonderful that you've made it to 60. I don't believe it. Anyway, happy birthday.
Gosh, Keith, 60 years of age. Where do you start in talking about your history? I've got all these notes. And I've just found out I've only got a couple of minutes to say it, so we might discard all of those. When you think of Keith, the first thing that springs to mind is hockey, golf, cricket, tennis, any ball sports. Now, I wasn't there 60 years ago, but I know the first word spoken by whoever was there would have been, "By Joves, he's born with an extra stick and an extra ball." Well, he's used those things all his life. Keith's sporting achievements are well known. I can well remember the days when the three Wallers played together, and one of the first things I learnt when I used to watch them was how not to pass the ball. By Joves, that was a lesson well learned. Most of the time on the hockey field it was Connolly, give me room, or over here. Now, what else do you think of when you think of Keith? Oh, you think of country hockey trips. You think of late nights, long card games, and a very sluggish Keith in the morning. You think of wine, you think of women, you think of song. Wine, any sort of wine would do at any time, any place. Women, I vaguely remember something that was said at school about Keith being an expert on sex. I don't think I can really comment on that a great deal because along came a woman, Maxine, and that was the end of the exploration in that area. And lastly, song. Well, we all know Keith's not that musical, but he's got one very good song, and it's Red Wine. So Keith, these 60 years, I hope they've been kind to you. I know that all your friends really don't think you've done a fantastic job with all your family. I don't know whether any of the current Waller family are hockey stars, but by Joes, I know that the old hockey family were.
Hi Keith, you're probably wondering what this guy's doing here. He was only 8 weeks old when you had your 50th, and as he's 10, I guess that makes you 60. So Tim, what have you got to say to Mr. Waller?
Happy birthday, Mr. Waller.
Okay, that's his bit done. He can just sit here and feel uncool. Keith, when Courtney asked me to say something about you, it really gave me a huge problem because there was too much to say, and some of it's obviously not very suitable. However, one story that probably lives with me for as long as ever. I think it was my first Old Guilfordians Hockey Club wind-up. I think I was 19, just come back from Europe. First time I'd taken a girlfriend along to one of these functions, and you and Jeff Elphick decided that she needed to learn how to kiss, and Maxine and Maureen decided that I needed to learn how to take my pants off. Anyway, it was a hilarious evening. I've never forgotten it. Needless to say, the girlfriend doesn't exist anymore. But you've been a great friend for a long period of time, and I hope for many more years to come. Happy 60th, and look forward to seeing you.
Hi, Keith. You may recall that 10 years ago, in a couple of weeks' time, the Dorringtons or the Wallers and the Dorringtons, I should say, spent an enjoyable 10 days or thereabouts in Scotland and in Wales. And for those of you who may be watching this video who aren't aware, this is when Keith gained the reputation as being a master links golfer, not a parkland or country type golfer, but a links golfer, where we all agree that links courses are far more difficult. But Keith gained that reputation. After golf, we made some, it was Sunday, we made some inquiries about where we should eat that night, and were recommended a place called Kinloch House, a very posh Scottish house with accommodation. When we appeared there, we certainly weren't dressed that well. My recollection is that Maxine, having got very wet, you can imagine what her hair looked like, but she got very wet, had to use a shirt which Keith had bought at the pro shop at Blairgowrie, had to wear his underdacks. I hope they were clean, and well, Keith obviously had to, he was without any underdacks, so it would have been a bit prickly around the backside. But when we got into the dining room, we were piped in, and certainly all the other guests there were well and truly dressed to the nines, kilts and the whole works. We really looked like a bunch of colonials. But Keith, that's it. I hope you have a very happy birthday. I look forward to being with you another 10 years on your 70th. All the best. Happy birthday.
You know, I've known him for a long time, and he's a bloody good bloke. Certainly companionable, and who of course can forget that laugh. It can be heard across 3-4 fairways at Karrinyup, and it's a beautiful laugh. And of course, every time I hear that song, Red Red Wine, I think of Keith. Sorry to hear about all your recent physical troubles, mate, but I'm sure you'll be a new bionic man after it's all over. When I think about the funny things, of course there was that one against me when we first went to a restaurant in Northbridge. I went out halfway through the meal and got into the back seat of the car and promptly fell asleep. It was good of you to entertain Jenny all that night for us on our first night out together. But I really do think of you most when I think about the reticulation at Dawesville. Now, wasn't that a good time? You did a fantastic job of putting it in by yourself. You're so proud of yourself. But I also remember when you came back next week and it had all been dug up by somebody and stolen. And they even took your shovel. Now, that's really bad. Keith, I really do hope you have a great birthday. I hope all your physical troubles are over and we get to hear that lovely, lovely raucous laugh again soon.
Keith, it's our pleasure today to wish you a very happy 60th. I can still just remember what that's like. But on my right, of course, you'll remember Kay, and on her right, you may remember from about 35 years, nearly 35 years ago, a little baby you used to adore and whom you've seen a few times since then. We have a few recollections of Canberra and your time in Canberra with Max, of course, that perhaps some of your guests won't know about. Somebody there may know that our first knowledge that you were coming to Canberra was in fact a package which we received addressed to you, care of us, and as Kay pointed out to me, it contained a rather large pair of underpants direct from your Bucks party. Our second recollection with Anne and David was when we always used to get together on a very regular basis and play 500. I vividly remember how you used to call out occasionally the name of the suit that you wanted Kay to lead. And when we objected, all you could say was, just testing, just testing. But we had to make sure that when that system failed, that you and Kay weren't sitting too close together so that he couldn't kick you, Kay, under the table. And we also have a recollection that when when you two were posted to Hong Kong for 6 months, Kay had the pleasure of driving your car.
Little Datsy.
Well, there you are. She remembers more about it than I do, which is fairly typical of remembering the detail. And of course, then Samantha was born. And as Kay remembers, and she used the words, you used to idolise Samantha. Then you took off for those intervening 6 months, and when you came back, you said,
Where's my little girl gone?
Well, here's the little girl.
Here I am.
Here's the little girl now, and she'll be 35 in. By the time you see this, she'll in fact be 35.
Catching up.
The other thing, of course, that we remember is that, and how much we appreciate at the time, is that you were proxy godparents for Samantha, and that's an occasion which we all remember and for which we will always be grateful.
Hi Keith, we've been invited today by your gorgeous family to say a few words about you as a neighbour and a friend. Wow, fancy you being 60 years old. I can't believe it, we're all getting old. I'll just talk to Ron. Ron, we've been asked to say a few words about Keith Waller.
Keith Weller?
No, Keith Waller.
Oh, Keith Waller. Now, he was the bloke who lived next door, wasn't he? I know, he's the bugger who wiped you out on champagne and brandy one night.
Couldn't
Had to
possibly
carry you home that night. Apart from that moment of notoriety, Keith, we've got some wonderful memories of you being our neighbour. I think you got most of the Exford Way blokes into Carrinup Golf Course just because you knew we could beat us. Our Exford Way challengers, Keith Mitchell, Graham Cooper, Ron Host and Keith Waller. What beaut times we had over there.
Never mind, Keith, never mind. What about the wonderful Christmas mornings we've had? Remember the time you broke the crystal glass? I don't remember, of course I don't remember. But apart from anything else, Keith, have a fantastic day. All the very best. Bye.
Well, thank you, Jan and Ron. You certainly must have heard some good stories from over the fence. Now, something special. I've sent Courtney off to Southeast Asia to find some old friends of Keith. Now, come in, Courtney. Can you hear me now? Courtney, can you come in now?
So, how do you think they get the pictures to go like that? Oh, are we on? Oh, okay, thanks, Richard. Sorry about that. Okay, we've found, at the moment we're in the heart of Singapore on Orchard Road, and we found a couple of locals that remember Dad, remember Keith from a while back. So your name is, sir?
Eric.
Your name's Mary?
No.
Eric. This Eric. Eric?
Yeah.
And me, Zul. Zul? Yes. Okay, we got Eric and Zul here. So you guys from Singapore?
Yep.
Yeah, the locals. Okay. Do you remember Keith Waller, and what impact did Keith have in your life?
Keith Waller.
I think this was my last, sounds like my kindergarten school teacher.
He was your school teacher? Okay. Weren't you saying before Keith was doing your laundry for your granddad?
Oh, yeah. I remember that. He did laundry.
But that was called, I think, Laundry Waller.
He's 7. Oh, my God.
So what would you like to say to Keith now that he's turning 60 years old?
Just to wish him have a very long life, enjoy well, then live life after 60.
Same too. Live life to 60.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys. So have a good day.
Okay, same to you. Okay.
Well, there's a couple of locals that are happy to wish Keith a happy 60th birthday. Let's see what else we can find around the streets. We're in front of the Paragon Shopping Centre here in Singapore, and I found some more locals that would like to wish Keith a happy birthday. Your name is, sir?
I'm Yufei.
Yufei?
Yeah.
I'm Lushu. I'm Lushu?
Andrew here.
Andrew.
Yeah.
What would you like to say, Andrew, for Keith's birthday?
Hey, Uncle Kate, happy birthday. Wish you all the best from Singapore here.
Happy birthday, Uncle K.
Happy birthday, Uncle K. Have a nice life.
Thanks, guys. So everyone's stoked that Keith's turning 60. Okay. See you guys. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Same.
Yeah. I found a little spot here deep in the jungle of Singapore. For those of you who might remember Keith's 50th birthday, might recall how Max organised 50 pink flamingos to be on the front lawn to celebrate the occasion. Well, Keith, this year we decided to go for 60 real-life pink flamingos. Have a look at the team that's saying g'day for your birthday.
Well, Keith, they're a bit more interesting than the plastic ones you had at your 50th birthday. Now, we did hope that Courtney's wallet could afford to go to Hong Kong and India, but unfortunately, the poor man could only get to Singapore. Now, Keith, it does appear that you did do some work in between golf and hockey.
Congratulations, Keith, on this milestone. If I didn't know you better, I'd say you'd reached maturity. But I do hope we continue to indulge in the occasional acts of our spouses regard as immature. Now, as I recall, our initial contact was through the information technology industry. We first met in the early 1970s when you were at Woppert and I was at IBM. And if you remember Peter Field, the Woppert rep, I was curious to meet you, so I got Peter to bring me along. In those days, Woppert had an IBM 1130, no screens, no off-the-shelf software, no discs even, just punch cards and programmers. People like you, Keith, who are making the systems do what they ought to do. Actually, you could say that we were from the computing stone age. We didn't have a lot of contact until the early 80s, when I was involved with Data General and you were with, dare I say, IDS. It was then we met a group of people like Peter Livingston and David Price, Bob Griffiths and Les Orty, and we've been lunching ever since. That is, if someone remembers to arrange the lunch. Lately we've been meeting at 60th birthday parties, but there are only 2 to go after yours, so we'll have to think of other reasons. For everyone, Keith's known as the epitome of a Clayton's prospect. Now, Clayton's prospect is someone who can remain on a salesperson's prospect list indefinitely without signing a deal. But the Clayton's prospects always provides sufficient incentive for a sales rep to persuade their manager that the Clayton's prospect will eventually sign. In the meantime, the Clayton's prospect is expected to participate in any activities offered by the sales representative. Not that I'm suggesting you, Keith, would do this for your benefit. On the contrary, Keith's putting himself out by going to lunches, dinners, trips, golf days, sailing and whatever else have you, all in the best interests of his company. Everyone knows that's the way that you get the best deal. A good example of this selfless dedication was the Wang Golf Day at Karrinyup in 1988. Keith and I were teamed with 2 post office guys in a better ball event. We started the day with a bottle of Penfolds 389, much to our partner's amazement or something else, but they decided to remain teetotal in the best interests of their game. Keith proceeded to win the competition, and part of the prize was a trip to the Gold Coast to play the other state winners. Our team also won the team event, despite our teetotal partners. Later it was a night to remember, or if you were David Price, one he could not remember. So was the wine bill Wang was presented with. It's significant that they went bankrupt soon after. Keith, there are some other fun stories I could relate, but in the interests of decorum I'll refrain. Needless to say, I always enjoy your company and I'm pleased to be counted as one of your many friends. Cheers, Keith.
Hi, Keith. You will recall we met 22 years ago and we worked on business opportunities with organisations like Bond Corporation in those early days. Well, at least you didn't go to jail. And over the years we have continued to do business, and I must admit I do recall your negotiation skills consisted of not only the price of the goods that I was promoting to you, but also how many lunches you got, and how many corporate golf days could you attend if you bought this equipment. Things didn't change with some of your social activities, because I can recall you're a staunch supporter of the United Nations. You attended many lunches, and I think on occasions was requested by the Director General to actually organise one. Obviously, this diet has served you well over the last 60 years. I guess just remember, Keith, when you come to give your speeches, to speak slowly, so we don't need a translator. Okay, so Keith, from Robin and I, happy birthday, happy 60th birthday. Good luck and good wishes.
Now, folks, that finishes the formal side of the show. I'd now like to lead you in a rendition of Happy Birthday, Keith. Now, that's not you guys out there, that's these folk in here. Now, are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Happy
birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
To you.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday, dearest
Keith.
Happy
birthday
To you.
Hip hip hooray.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hey!
Hip hip hooray! Happy birthday, Daddy. Love you lots. Bye.
Well, that's not bad, folks. Needs a little work, needs a little polish. Maybe by the time of Keith's 100th birthday, it'll all just be fine. Well, that's all from me, folks. It's been a wonderful evening. I'd like to leave you with a few memorable photographs of Keith that deserve a second glance. Good night.
Keith.